Welcome to the Next Generation Rockstars podcast. If you are trying to figure out how do you recruit and retain this next generation of rockstar talent, well, you are in the right place. Hi, this is Amanda Hammett, and this is Next Generation Rockstars. And today I have a fantastic guest for you. She is joining us from Sweden. Her name is Malin Ohlsson. Malin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that introduction. I'm Malin Ohlsson. I'm working at a small company in South Sweden.
Okay.
About 100 employees.
Okay.
And my role is operation manager. During next 6 months, I'm also HR. Yeah.
I'm curious.
That's the good thing to work in a small company. You can do whatever you want to and a bit more. Yeah.
So how did you get the 6 months of being HR? How did that come about?
Our HR manager are on parental leave.
Ah, okay.
In fact, I have done it already for 6 months and will do it for another 6 months.
Oh, okay. Well, fantastic. That must be nice to have that lengthy parental leave in Sweden.
Yeah, it's a very nice benefit. It's real good.
Wonderful. I'm a little jealous of that. So, all right, well, let's dive in. You've already told us a little bit about you, but what the audience doesn't know is that, I'm not a frequent visitor to Sweden. So I actually met you through someone else. I had the good fortune of speaking at a conference in Europe in Sevilla, Spain, and I spoke with a young man who was just a real go-getter, and he really impressed me, and his name was Backstrom. And as I was speaking with Marcus, I asked him, I'm really curious as to who was influential in your career, who has really helped to drive you to where you are today, and that person was you.
That's a great mention, because I've only known him I think I met him the first time 4 years ago.
Okay.
On a training, IHM Business School.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an interesting person. He had some challenges around the most things about staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing was, I don't hope he mind, but I think was that they don't ask the staff, the colleagues, what they think, what they want to do, what they wanted to do, if they were satisfied, because they don't want to have the answer.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's hard to hear the answers from your staff on what they want or what they think.
Yeah.
That can be difficult, but it's so important, because you can't fix it if you don't.
Yeah. And the only thing that will happen if you don't fix it is that they will leave.
Yes.
Maybe not the ones that should be okay to leave the company, but the high performance people, they will leave.
Oh, absolutely.
Always, because they can have another job.
Absolutely.
We still have contact, so we'll see. But his results now are amazing. He took it from a hard result to amazing result, both on the employee satisfaction and customer satisfaction. He have done a great job.
That's wonderful. That means he did the work. He listened to you and he did the work.
He have done a lot of work. He has.
So let's talk a little bit about you for just a second. You told us a little bit about what you're doing right now, but I would imagine that in your own career, throughout your entire career, you've witnessed other forms of leadership that are different than your own. How did those styles of leadership shape who you became as a leader?
I think I have seen both good and less good examples, but what shaped me the most is one of the first managers I had in my first leadership role a long time ago. But he told me, and it's not good to translate it to English, but he told me that always lead according to 4 V's.
Okay.
If I should translate it, it's like we always want to be nice to each other.
Yes.
Which decision I ever may take, I always will think, of my colleagues' best. I want to have a nice life in the company or outside the company. Mm-hmm. And he showed me how you can show concern and heart, but was careful that I was responsible for my development and created my own conditions. He couldn't do that for me, and he was real obvious about that.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, I think that a lot of leaders sometimes forget that, you know, it's not just about producing numbers. It's really about producing the next generation of leaders. It's really about building them up. And sometimes that involves hard lessons to learn, but it's there. It's about treating people as other human beings. That's how people want to be treated. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So,
I think so.
Have you ever, I mean, besides this one boss that you just mentioned, have you ever felt pressure from other bosses or superiors in your companies to focus more on numbers and less on being kind to people?
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes I feel that pressure even now. Mm-hmm. But then we are a company that delivers competent services, which means that we have to recruit people with high skills.
Yes.
High competence. So in this company, I've been here for 30 years. We always had a focus on employee satisfaction. Mm-hmm. But the last maybe 4 or 5 years, realized that employee satisfaction is a figure. And since 3 years ago, this is one of our main goals. We have 3 main goals for the company, and employee satisfaction is one of them. Yes. So it's not only money, but had to work hard to prove it, that it will be a difference if we focus on people. Yes. And not only Swedish crowns.
Yes, so yes. Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Actually, so within my own company, we, my other partner, he focuses on studying high-performing companies and teams. Mm-hmm. And the biggest finding that has come out of that research is that they put employees first, employees over the customer. And that's the most important thing. Actually, 94.1% of all the companies he has, the high-performing companies that he has surveyed and researched, they have all put employees first.
Can I take part of that information?
Yes. I'd be happy to share that research with you. It's really good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of other good findings, but that's the one that always pops out in my head. Mm-hmm. Is that, I mean, because that's not even close. That's a huge number.
Yeah, it is. And I think my generation and younger, I think we have bigger capability to take that information with us and do something with it. I think that the older generation has a little bit more to struggle with according that.
Well, it's always about changing and going, accepting that change is coming, whether you want it to or not, it's coming. So
that's
what can you
true.
do about it? So, all right, well, since you brought this up, let's dig into this. What is the difference, or what is the influence that millennials have brought into company culture? Specifically, I know that you guys work throughout Europe, not just in Sweden.
That's true. I think if I should take it in, sum up it, so a greater focus on personal development together with work-life balance. I think that's the pressure that they put on us as leaders.
Yes.
This younger generation is they're smarter than my generation because they have a much bigger focus on work-life balance.
Yes.
And on the self-development. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. They don't accept anything else. So it has changed us a bit from our annual employee surveys and annual goal meetings. Now we do it every month. We have interviews with all employees, and we do our surveys every week with one click. but every week.
Yes.
Because feedback, don't live very long for these guys who grown up now, because they are used to instant feedback.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely. And it's interesting how if you're having an issue with just one, it could be something very minor, but if it's not addressed in a fairly, quick manner, it can fester and it can grow and it can spread. Yeah. And it can not only take over the one employee, but it can start to spread to others. And that's
real quick.
Yes.
Yes.
It's very toxic. And so it's like one bad apple ruins the whole bunch.
Yeah. It's real like that.
So yeah, I love that you guys do that once a week. I think that so many companies depend on that one time a year annual survey. And I'm like, that's just not enough.
No, it isn't. We do once a year a bigger survey.
Yes.
A lot of questions, but every week we have a question. Just how do you feel this week at work? How was your week?
Yeah.
And you have to click for smileys.
Mm-hmm.
Too happy and too sad. And when you click them, your nearest leader get an email.
Yes.
Sad, he have to get you a hug. Something.
He has to give you a hug?
Yes.
I love it.
If the colleague want a hug, maybe he wants a cup of coffee. But
all right.
That's the thing.
All right. Okay. That's awesome. I love that. And that's just through an app on your phone, right?
Yeah.
That's great. So, as millennials started coming into the workplace, how did that change your own personal leadership style? Or did it?
I don't know if it changed me so much. It's hard to see, but I find it more easy now to show more heart. I don't think for 10 years ago I should never ever wrote a mail for one of my colleagues that they have to give another colleague a hug.
Right.
Today I do. It's exactly what it says. I like when things happen fast and quickly, and this generation can handle that a bit more better than the older generation, in my point of view.
Yes. Okay.
If they can have the information. So I don't really know how it changed me.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe I have to be more instant.
Okay.
Think, wait, as it could for 10 years ago. It's not possible anymore.
I see. Yes, you're correct on that. Now, what about, I happen to know that you are a very big believer in accountability. And can you give the audience an example of what that really means to you?
I think I have several examples. We'll see. I believe that all people want to be the best self and perform well. And that's why I have to challenge my colleagues and me all the time. For example, I had a colleague who had one role and it didn't work out really well. We almost agreed about that her employment should end.
Okay.
But when I realized what she really said between the lines, I realized that she loved people, not IT.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her to be one of our team leaders. A couple of days after we had a conversation about ending her employment. It's a bit strange, but today she's one of our stars.
Really?
She is. She had an award from a Service Desk Forum in Sweden and will go in middle of May to Stockholm to speak to an audience about why she was the year support employee.
Really?
Yeah, she will. She's one of my best. but I listened to her. When she spoke to me, I listened to what she said, not between the lines.
Yes.
And that was my mistake. I'm glad that I had an opportunity to think over it.
Right. That is amazing. That, you know, what a turnaround, because she was about to leave your company.
Yes.
And I'm sure, you know, it was upsetting for her and for you, but you recognized that there was something else there that you were missing. Yeah. And so congratulations to you for, you know, recognizing, but also for taking that risk, because a lot of people would not have taken that risk. But congratulations really to her. I mean, that's amazing. That's awesome.
But that's my idea of responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, she got an opportunity and she took it.
She did.
So I like that.
I love that. I love that story. That's
Me
amazing.
too.
Well, please pass along my congratulations.
That's why I love my work.
That's amazing.
This is great.
That is great. That is great. And again, I want to recognize that you recognize that and you acted on it.
Yeah.
A lot of times we see leaders that, you know, they see, okay, somebody's struggling and maybe this isn't the place for them, but that's where the thought process ends. They don't think about where else, what other seats do we have that need to be filled that this person has skills for. So wonderful. That's awesome. But
it took a couple of months for me.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. So tell me about, do you think that, I mean, this question's almost a no-brainer at this point. Do you think that your leadership style and your, you know, belief in, you know, accountability for everybody, do you think that really helps you retain talent, rock star talent?
Yeah, I think so. No, I'm convinced about that, because I dare to lower the guard, and I really care about my colleagues.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the things, and I have the courage to ask the unpleasant questions and to listen to their answers and do what it takes. So yes, I think so.
Very good. That must be what Marcus learned from you.
Can be. I will ask him.
Wonderful. Well, obviously, I mean, listening to those answers and what's not being said has actually given you an edge to retain top talent. And retention of talent is such a massive issue for companies around the world, but it's also a very expensive issue for companies around.
Yeah, it is.
So very good. I love this. So what, you know, Malin, what do you find are the benefits of really focusing on your people and developing your people? What benefits to a company are there?
From a company perspective, it's stay longer. And I don't know about in your country, but here it's very easy to get a new job if you're a good technician. Really easy. So we work hard for get our stay and develop to be the best ones. So I think that's the main reason. And we have a customer satisfaction that's really high.
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your customers.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you are a testament to that as well, apparently.
Yeah, I know it's like that. And now from our board are convinced too. So we all in that way, in the same direction.
That's good. Very good. Now, what about, you know, we've talked a little bit about your influence on Marcus, the young man that I met, but what other advice would you give to an early in career employee? Somebody who's just starting out, maybe their very first job. What advice would you give them?
It's a bit hard, but I think believe in yourself and make mistakes. I think that making mistakes is a good way of growth, I think. If you take responsibility for your mistake. So it's a good thing.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of The Next Generation Rockstars, where we have discussed all about recruiting and retaining that next generation of talent. So I'm guessing that you probably learned a tremendous amount from this week's Rockstar Leader. And if that is the case, don't keep me a secret. Share this episode with the world, but really share it with your friends, with your colleagues, because they also need to learn how to recruit and retain this next generation of talent, because these skills are crucial to business success moving forward. Now, of course, I want you to keep up to date every single week as we are dropping each and every episode. So be sure to subscribe to your favorite podcast platform of your choice, and you will see the Next Generation Rockstars show up just for you.